Hello and welcome to Competology Academy, and today we are going to discuss the fourth part and the last part of the famous personalities of Jharkhand. Before this we have already discussed about the famous tribal personalities or the freedom fighters or the revolutionaries of Jharkhand who were active before 1857. In the part 2 we had discussed about those who were active during 1857, and after that, as well as in the third part, we had discussed about those revolutionaries and the freedom fighters and the personalities who were active after the advent of 20th century and before 1947, right? And here again we will discuss the tribal leaders, the famous tribal leaders, the famous personalities who were the tribals who had done too much of the things for the upliftment, social and economic upliftment of the tribal people of Jharkhand, as well as there was considerable contribution of these personalities in relation to the carving out of a separate state of Jharkhand on the lines of the tribal population. So those who have not gone through those videos of the earlier personalities may go on to go through the playlist and they will find those related videos. So here we are going to discuss about the famous personalities who were the tribal leaders, right? So let us start. So here the first famous personality was Lakra. Lakra, and he was a person who was born in the Urao tribal family in Murmu village of Ranchi district. So basically he was a person belonging to Urao tribe. However, he was a Christian, right? So religiously he was a believer of Christianity and he belonged to Lutheran Christianity, right? And here he founded the Chota Nagpur Unnati Samaj in 1915 AD. So keep this fact in mind, that who founded Chota Nagpur Unnati Samaj. This is an important fact and which is asked time and again in the questions of the competitive examination which are conducted by the Jharkhand government, right? And in 1920 he founded a hockey team and a football team with the name of Young Chota Nagpur team. So he was a great fan of sports, great supporter of sports, and he thought that if the tribal people go on to participate in the sports, then they can contribute considerably to the development of the tribal people, to name and fame of the tribal people. So he was of the view that the football and the hockey team will contribute on this line, right? Now he was the first tribal to receive the Padma Shri award in Jharkhand in 1947 from the government of India. So after independence in 1947 itself, he was the first tribal throughout India who had received the Padma Shri award in Jharkhand, right? So he was the person who was awarded with the Padma Shri award also for his contribution towards the social upliftment of the tribal peoples, right? Now he was elected as a member of Legislative Assembly in 1947. So it is a quite obvious feature in the general life of India that whoever becomes a famous personality goes on to join the politics also. And at that very time, this was a thing which was done by the leaders not for the personal gains, but for contributing more to the society. Nowadays it has become a trend that the people go on to join the politics for the personal gain, right? Now he also taught at the Gosner College, so he was a teacher also. He was teaching at the Gosner School. At that very time it was a school. Later on it goes on to become a college, right? Now Theble Urao was an associate of Lakra, right? He was an associate of Lakra in the foundation of establishment of Chota Nagpur Unnati Samaj. So he was an associate of Lakra and he was a co-founder and he helped Lakra in the establishment of Chota Nagpur Unnati Samaj. However, there were some ideological differences between Thevle Urao and Jewel Lakra, and there might be some tug of war for the hegemony over the organization or something like that, because everybody have some kind of self-esteem to achieve something and to be above others, and that is what had led to the differences between Jewel Lakra and Thevle Urao, and thereafter Jewel Lakra founded a new organization called Kisan Sabha parallel to Chota Nagpur Unnati Samaj. So basically, the Kisan Sabha that was founded by Thevle Urao was also active on the same matters in the same region, and that was named as Kisan Sabha. It was parallel to Chota Nagpur Unnati Samaj, right? Now, next question is, not question, but the personality is Paul Dayal. So, Paul Dayal was also born in a Urao family in Dumsa Toli of Ranchi. So, Dumsa Toli is a place in Ranchi where the Paul Dayal had born, and religiously he was also a follower of Christianity, but he was an Anglican Christian. So, there are different sects of Christianity also: Orthodox, Protestant, Roman Catholic, German Catholic, likewise Lutheran, Anglican. So there are several sects of Christianity also, and religiously Paul Dayal was follower of Christianity that was of Anglican sect, right? So you can find many of the Christian missionaries in the hinterlands of Jharkhand, in the remote areas of Jharkhand, who go on to establish their missionary. They provide free health services, education, nutritional services, and other things to propagate Christianity. Through the allurement of these things, they go on to convert the tribals into Christianity, right? And he was a lawyer by profession. So Paul Dayal was a lawyer by profession, and he was a prominent leader of Chota Nagpur Unnati Samaj. Earlier he was also an associate of Thevle Urao and Jewel Lakra. But when a rift ensued between Thevle Urao and Jewel Lakra, then Paul Dayal sided with Thevle Urao but not with Jewel Lakra. So he became the first secretary of Kisan Sabha and Adivasi Mahasabha that were established, that were founded by Thevle Urao, and he left the Chota Nagpur Unnati Samaj, the organization that was established by Jewel Lakra, right? And later on, he emerged as a prominent leader of Jharkhand. He joined the politics also, and he became active in politics. So all these things were going on, right? Now, the next person is Bandiram Urao. He was also a tribal person belonging to Urao tribe, and he was an important leader related to the demand for a separate state of Jharkhand. He was active in Jharkhand movement. Bandiram Urao was active in Jharkhand movement, and he was the first vice president of Adivasi Mahasabha. He was the first vice president, VP of Adivasi Mahasabha, and here he was born in a Urao family that we have already discussed. Next is Ignac Bek. So he was a prominent leader of Jharkhand party. So Jharkhand party, write in the comment section below who was the founder of Jharkhand party, right? Now, he was a prominent leader of Jharkhand party, and he was the first secretary of Catholic Assembly of Chota Nagpur. So there was an assembly, there was an organization which was founded, that was Catholic Assembly, and he was the first secretary. Ignac Bek was the first secretary of Catholic Assembly, right? And he was born in an Urao family in Chenpur. He was from Chenpur. He was born in an Urao family in Chenpur. And if you go on to discuss, then you will find that most of the Christianity conversion, the tribal people who converted to Christianity were from the regions that were around that of Ranchi region, because the Christianity was more active in Ranchi, Khoti, Latear, Lower Dagga, Bubla. So this was the region, kind of jungle mahal type of region where the Christians were more active, right? Now Jaipal Singh Munda. So Jaipal Singh was pioneer leader of separate state of Jharkhand movement. So he was one of the person who was putting his demand for the separate state of Jharkhand more fiercely and forcefully in front of the different leaders, national and the state level leaders, as well as at different platforms, right? And here he was born on February 3, 1903 to a Munda family in a small village of Tukra in Khunti. So this whole fact is very important in respect of the competitive exams of Jharkhand, as well as Jaipal Singh Munda was a famous leader nation-wide in context of the tribal leaders. So these type of questions may be there in those examinations which are conducted by the central organizations also, right? And here his original name was Venand Pal. His original name, the name that was given by his parents was Venand Pal. But later on, what happened when he accepted Christianity, he was named as Ishwar Das. His name was changed to Ishwar Das, and later on again his name was changed. He was named as Jaipal Singh by a priest in Khunti. So here his name was changed thrice, right? First of all he get the original name, thereafter two times his name was changed. So all these names may be there in the question if the questions are related to Jaipal Singh Munda. And under his leadership, the Indian hockey team won the first gold medal in the 9th Olympics held at Amsterdam, Netherlands in 1928. So this was a great achievement, and this was one of the important event because of which hockey became our national game, because this is the only game in which India had won the gold medal in Olympics even before independence, and because of which this game became our national game, right? And he became the president of Adivasi Mahasabha in 1939. He became the president of Adivasi Mahasabha in 1939, and he was the founder of Jharkhand Party in 1950. He founded the Jharkhand Party in 1950 AD, right? Now, he was elected as the member of first Lok Sabha constituted in 1952 and continued to be the member of parliament until 1970. So he won the election on the ticket of Jharkhand Party in 1952, and thereafter he continued to be the member of parliament until 1970, although he merged his Jharkhand Party in 1960s with the Congress Party on the behest of, on the mediation of Vinodanand Jha, right? And after June 20, 1963, he held the position of Minister of State of Community Department. Minister, at that very time there was no such department of Ministry of tribal welfare. So Community Department was the department which was responsible for the tribal welfare and social welfare. And here, after June 1963, after the merger of Jharkhand Party with the Congress Party, he was given the position of Minister of State, and he held the Community Department, right? And public gave him the title of Marang Gomke. Marang Gomke, an important term, this should be kept in mind. Marang Gomke is a very important term, and this means elder Guruji. So either there may be the question that what is the meaning of Marang Gomke, or there may be the question that who was conferred with the title of Marang Gomke. So these things should be kept in mind. And people also called him by the name of Munda Raja. People also gave him the name of Munda Raja. And he died of cerebral hemorrhage. Okay, cerebral hemorrhage. That is on 20th March 1970 in New Delhi, right? So brain hemorrhage भी कहते हैं इसको. तो he was died of cerebral hemorrhage. Now, Sushil Kumar Baghe, an important leader of separate state of Jharkhand movement, he was associated with that, and he was a very important leader in this movement, and he held the post of press secretary of Jharkhand party. He was the press secretary of Jharkhand party, and he was the first MLA from Kolebira on Jharkhand party's ticket in 1952 elections. So he won the election from Kolebira MLA constituency, member of Legislative Assembly constituency, and he was the member of Legislative Assembly of Bihar from Kolebira, because at that very time this region was the part of Bihar state itself, right? And he was elected a member of Legislative Assembly in 1957 and 1962 also. So three times consecutively he became the member of Legislative Assembly, and he held the post of leader of opposition in the Bihar Legislative Assembly also, because at that very time in most of the states the Congress was the party which was in government, which was in the leading position in any of the legislative assembly or even at the center. However, the main opposition parties were always being the regional parties. And the same case was with Jharkhand party. Jharkhand party was the main opposition party in the Bihar Legislative Assembly during this period, and the leader of opposition was Sushil Kumar Baghe. So these things, these facts should be kept in mind. And here he edited a Mundari magazine, Jagar Sada. So the name Jagar Sada, and who was the editor of this magazine, and when does this magazine was being released, these things should be kept in mind, right? Now, he was born in 1922 AD in Bhinjpur of Kolebira in the Simdega district. So basically the constituency which he was representing was his birthplace constituency, his home constituency, and he died in 1984 at Patna, because obviously he was a leader, he was a politician, and he was always associated with the proceedings of Legislative Assembly and other things. He held the position of MLA for 3 consecutive terms, and thereafter he was active in politics also. So he had to be in Patna, and other things were there which he had to look after. Now, Kartik Ura, one of the most learned person of the tribal community during that period, one of the most educated, highly educated person, right? Here, he was born in 1924 AD in Lita Toli of Karunda village of Gumla district. And why I am emphasizing this information? Because these informations are very important while answering the paper. You may get the questions related to these facts, and that is why I am emphasizing on these facts. These facts are going to be very important in scoring good marks, right? Now here he received his higher education in engineering. Why I was saying that he was one of the most educated and learned person, because at that very time even most of the people were not being literate, and he was getting the engineering degree. He was getting educated in engineering, and he had done his engineering from London. आज भी अगर कोई आईआईटी एनआईटी और ये सब तो बहुत बड़ी इंस्टीट्यूट हो गए, इवन अगर अपने स्टेट से बाहर जाकर पढ़ लेता है तो they go on to brag that I have done engineering. He was an engineer from London. So you can imagine how much educated person he was, right? Now, he was the leading designer of UK nuclear power plant Hixley Point. So, he was a nuclear scientist. He was designing the nuclear power plants. You can imagine what kind of proficiency he was having. And that was rewarded with what? After his return to India in 1961, he was appointed to the post of Superintendent of HEC Ranchi, Heavy Engineering Corporation Ranchi. This is one of the lead machinery and tools industry, tools manufacturer in India as well as HEC is one of the leading manufacturer in the region with respect to marine engines, right? So he was appointed the superintendent of this HEC Ranchi, and in 1967 he was elected to the Lok Sabha from Lohardaga constituency. After returning back to India, ऑलरेडी ही वॉज वेरी फेमस दैट लंदन से आए साहब पढ़ के एचईसी के एकदम सुपरिटेंडेंट है, अधीक्षक है, ये है वो है. So already he was very famous, he was having money and all those kind of things, and his he was a public figure, his public stature was very high. So he go on to join the politics, and in 1967 he was elected to Lok Sabha from Lohardaga constituency, and in 1968 he founded an All India Tribal Development Council. Now he became socially and politically active, and he was thinking about the social development and economic upliftment of the tribal people, right? Now here he is also remembered for the Jharkhand state movement. All the tribal leaders were at some point of time were active in the demand for the separate state of Jharkhand, right? If you go on to read the history of the formation of Jharkhand, then you will come to know that even during the visit of Simon Commission, the people of Jharkhand had submitted a memorandum to the Simon Commission for carving out of a separate tribal state named Jharkhand. So this was the history of the formation of Jharkhand. Now come to Vinod Bihari Mata, one of a very important leader with respect to the Jharkhand movement, a very important pillar. And why? Because he is credited with converting the Jharkhand movement from the tribal movement to the movement of Jharkhandis. So he brought together the tribals and the non-tribals. He was of the view that all those people who are living in Jharkhand, who are settled here since the time immemorial, so all those have the right to get a separate state of Jharkhand, and they should fight for this collectively. Whether they are tribal, whether they are Sadans, they should collaborate with each other, they should cooperate with each other, and they should fight for the separate state of demand of separate state of Jharkhand. So he is credited with these things, and himself he was not a tribal, right? He was a Sadan. So now he founded the Shivaji Samaj Sangathan to remove the social evils first and to educate the people. He was of the view that this Dain Pratha and these other witchcraft and other things are restricting and hindering the social and economic development of the peoples of Jharkhand. So first of all, these social evils should be removed, and thereafter only the people will become politically educated and politically active. And that is what he was trying to do through Shivaji Samaj Sangathan, right? Now, in 1973, he along with Shibu Soren founded the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. Foundation of Jharkhand Mukti Morcha was in the year 1973, and this was an important event in the Jharkhand movement, because here onwards the demand for the Jharkhand, separate state of Jharkhand, became more fierce and forceful. And the founder of Jharkhand Mukti Morcha was Vinod Bihari Mata, and Shibu Soren was his associate, and he was the founding president of Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. Jharkhand Mukti Morcha founder president Vinod Bihari Mata. Keep these facts in mind. And he represented the Tundi Assembly in the Bihar Legislative Assembly and Giridih Lok Sabha constituency. So he had represented both the Lok Sabha constituency of Giridih as well as he was the member of Legislative Assembly of Bihar from the Tundi Assembly. This is also in Giridih itself, and people used to call him Babu with love, because he was a learned person. He was thinking about the social upliftment and the development of the people. He was helping out the people, and for that matter the people used to call him Babu with love. Now Shibu Soren, a pioneer leader of Jharkhand movement, and the current president of Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. So after the Nirmal Mahato, he became the president of Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, and he continues to be the president of Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. And he is a Lok Sabha member and former chief minister also, and he several times he have held the various ministries at center, as well as he was the chief minister of Jharkhand for several times also, in total 3 times. So he is known as Guruji or Disum Guru. He is known as Guruji or Disum Guru. Basically, Disum means the Desh and Guru is Guru itself. So, in the tribal language, Santhali language, Disum means the Desh, and the tribal Santhali peoples go on to consider him as a Guruji of the whole Santhal society with respect and with love, because of his contribution towards the formation of separate state of Jharkhand, as well as for the Santhali tribal groups also, right? And he born in 1952 AD in the village of Nimra in the present day Ramgarh district, but at that very time it was in Hazaribagh district, right? So he was born in Nimra village of Ramgarh district if we consider the present time, and the Hazaribagh district if we consider the timing of his birth or before 2009, right? His original name is Shiv Charan Lal Manjhi. Shiv Charan Lal Manjhi. Shivu Soren is his not the original name, but his original name is Shiv Charan Lal Manjhi, and he founded the Sonot Santhal Society in 1970. Sonot Santhal Society, and in tribal language, Sonot means pure. So he started a Puritarian movement in which he wanted to remove all those cultural and other impacts which were incorporated in the tribal society, Santhal tribal society, because of the influence of the outsiders and other religious sects. So he was of the view that the Santhali people should go on to worship only the Singh Bombonga, the supreme deity, and they should follow the what? The Sarna cult, and they should not get influenced by the other religious sects. And for that matter, he founded the Sonot Santhal Society, right? Now, he was the first General Secretary of Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. President was Vinod Bihari Mata, and he had contributed in the establishment of the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, and he became the first General Secretary, and he led Cut the Jungle campaign in 1978. He was leading the Cut the Jungle campaign in 1978, and why he was doing so? Because he was of the view that Jal Jungle Jameen belongs to the tribal people of Jharkhand, and they should not be restricted to harness their livelihood from these natural resources, and the government does not have the right to restrict their entry to collect the fruits, tubers, minor forest produces, etc. from the jungle, and that is why he had led this Cut the Jungle campaign in 1978, right? And he held the post of Chief Minister 3 times. The dates are provided here, and it is quite easy to get this frivolous informations. Now come to Nirmal Mahato. He was the president of Jharkhand Mukti Morcha and played a leading role in Jharkhand movement. However, he was assassinated, he was murdered, and that is why he is known as Shahid Nirmal Mahato. And anybody can decipher quite easily why he was murdered, right? He assumed the office of Jharkhand Mukti Morcha in 1984, and he greatly intensified the movement for the demand of separate state of Jharkhand, right? And here he was assassinated on 8th August 1987. Within 3 years of becoming the president of Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, he was assassinated. Now, Sitaram Jagatram, he is in the history, his name is mentioned in the history only for one reason, that in February 1961, he was the first politician to demand a separate province in the Bihar Legislative Assembly, Bihar Legislature. He was the first president to forward the demand, to present the demand for the formation of separate province of Jharkhand, separate state of Jharkhand in 1961. So this was the single contribution of his life, because of which he has found his name in the history. Now Bagun Sumrai, a prominent leader, a down-to-earth leader, a community leader, a social leader, whatever you say. So he was a prominent leader associated with the Jharkhand state movement, and from the pictures of his attire you can ascertain that how down-to-earth he was. He used to just wear a dhoti and simple gamcha and the rest of the thing, bare body, and he was not that kind of show off and extravaganza kind of thing was not associated with him. He founded the All India Jharkhand Party in 1967. All India Jharkhand Party. Who was the founder of All India Jharkhand Party? Bagun Sumrai. Right? Now, after the formation of the state of Jharkhand, he became the first deputy speaker of Jharkhand Legislative Assembly. And go on to write in the comment section below that who was the first speaker of Jharkhand Legislative Assembly. Bagun Sumrai was the first deputy speaker of Jharkhand Legislative Assembly. Go on to write down in the comment section below that who was the first speaker of Jharkhand Legislative Assembly. And he died on June 22nd, 2018. When he died? June 22nd, 2018. Right? Now, here we finish off the discussion related to the personalities of Jharkhand. And thank you very much for watching the video till the end. If you have watched the video till the end, then please consider subscribing the channel and press the bell icon also to get notified whenever we upload new videos. Our next series of video is going to be on the revolts of Jharkhand, where the revolts of Jharkhand and the movements in Jharkhand will be discussed in detail. So don't miss out the videos. Those videos are going to be very informative and very important from the exam point of view. And here you can follow us on our Facebook and Instagram handle. There you will get various study materials and other things and the questions also on our Telegram channel, as well as go on to download our app. There you will get the free current affairs magazines, question papers and other things. And the same things are available on our website, that is competology.com. So here we sign off. Thank you very much and don't forget to get back again. Have a nice day.